quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
The medical marijuana. The medical marijuana. Radio show. The medical marijuana for you and me. Ah, yeah, the medical marijuana. Whoa, 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 yeah, the medical. It's the medical marijuana show. You will know.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Hey, boy, don't feel my world untrue. Yeah, I want to talk to you. My world can be true if you do what I tell you to. I want to talk to you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Medical Marijuana Radio. This one is for Saturday, the 8th of October, 2016. I'm your host, Larry Love. We're here every week to bring you the latest information on medical use of cannabis and adult recreational use and legalization from all over the globe. This week, we're going to talk with Carlos Alfaro, who is one of the heads of the Yes on 205 movement in Arizona to legalize cannabis. We had two people on last week, Jason Madar and David Wisniewski, and we talked about no on that. And these are people that want legalization. So it should be interesting. I did invite Carlos Alfaro to talk with Jason Madar and have sort of a little debate on it, but Carlos Alfaro did deny that request, so we interviewed him alone like we did the guys for yes, for no on 205 in Arizona. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We're going to have some news for you as well. Our format's going to be a little different today. We do have some news here in New Mexico in regard to our medical cannabis program. Ken Groggle, who was the manager and then became the compliant manager, working with the LMPPs on compliance and keeping them together. His last day, I haven't heard any official announcement, but supposedly his last day was yesterday, Friday. They like to release things late in the afternoon, so he is gone, and he's been one of the problems that we've had in the New Mexico medical cannabis program. But I want to tell you a little story about what happened this week. The Lynn Aaron Compassionate Act is the medical cannabis program here in New Mexico. It's a compassionate act, and the program should be about compassion. Over the last few months, it's been very tough to get renewals going on. Actually, for the last 6 months or 8 or 9 months, renewals have been taking 60 days plus, and the DOH has been very, very backed up. Now, this has been talked about before, and it's been done before. People have been expedited to get into the medical cannabis program when they have cancer, they're going into hospice, and so forth. It's not a rule that is on the books, but it has been done. I know someone personally who has had 5 or 6 applications that he hand-delivered to Andrea Sundberg, who is the patient coordinator and in charge of all the applications and renewals and so forth. And there is a way to get people in from between 5 and 10 days instead of waiting 30 or 60 or whatever days that it takes. I have a friend who's very sick, and she's not well. So I went over to the DOH with the application and asked to speak with Andrea. Now, Andrea Sundberg has, she and I have butted heads before, okay? I'm an activist for the program, and I'm an activist for patients. I talk up at the DOH meetings all the time, and I've been very, very critical of this program. I've been critical of Ken Groggle or Grogel. I've been critical of Andrea because criticism is needed. There needs to be advocates for patients. There needs to be advocates for this program because not everything is done right. And our governor, Martinez, here in New Mexico, said when she was running for governor that she would scuttle this program. She would shut it down. If it was a bill passing her desk, she would close it up. And she hired the right people to make things bad in the medical cannabis program. And they did a damn good job of it. So when I was in there at the beginning of the week and I wanted to drop off this application for a friend who's very, very ill and can't wait 60 days or 90 or 30 or 15, and knowing that this has been done in the past, I asked to speak with Andrea. And she wouldn't speak with me. She said she was too busy. I sent a message with the receptionist that I'm dropping off an application that needs expediting because this person is very, very ill. And the message back from Andrea was she was too busy, and we don't do that. We don't do that. Well, she lied because they do that, and I can get proof. This is a despicable move by Andrea Sundberg to be vindictive because I'm the one that dropped off this page, this paperwork to get expedited because this person is very ill. Vindictiveness is not compassion. Andrea Sundberg should be get up, drop whatever she's doing to get somebody in who's in such a bad condition. And then she should go home at night and feel good about what she did. But no, that's not what she's there for. She's there to scuttle the program, and she's not there for compassion. She's not there to do her job. She's there to do the bidding of Susana Martinez, who wants this program to disappear and doesn't want to fix the problems in this state. Vindictiveness. There's no need for that. You drop personal problems and personal feelings about people, and you do business. The business of getting people into the medical marijuana program here in New Mexico. Ken Groggle is now gone, from what I understand. I asked for his resignation back in June of 2016 when they were trying to pull all these bullshit rules on us. Here's a clip from June of 2016, over 2 years ago, of me asking for Groggle's resignation.
Hi, my name is Larry Love. I'm a patient, and I'm a patient advocate, and an advocate for this program. I want to thank everybody for being here today. But you know what? You didn't have to come if these people up here did their jobs right. Okay? The people that run the Department of Health are really not making it work like the Lynn Aaron Compassionate Act is, its intent is supposed to be. This hearing is about rules. Rules are put in place to create order where order is necessary. Many of these new rules are not necessary. These proposed rules cause problems, not solutions. The people at the DOH and the MCP have not complied or carried out the intent of the rules of the Lynn and Aaron Compassionate Act. I personally know that Mr. Groggle, the director of the program, does not respect the rules of this program. I know that because he facilitated my removal illegally from one of the licensed nonprofits, and he knew it, and he let it happen. He does not respect these rules. For Mr. Groggle's blatant disregard of the rules and Mr. Groggle's obvious disregard in carrying out the intent of the Lynn and Aaron Compassionate Act, his lack of respect for the welfare of the patients, and the new proposed rules that he is obviously responsible for by being the director, I ask for his resignation or immediate firing. And I invite Mr. Groggle to come on the air and resign right here in front of all of us. And Andrea should do the same thing.
Yes, and this goes out to both Andrea and thank you to Mr. Groggle for leaving. One down and one to go.
What you say? Oh woman, don't treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I've ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. What you say? Now, baby, listen, baby, don't you treat me this away, 'cause I'll be back on my feet someday. Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. What you say? Well, what you said, I didn't understand it. You can't mean that. Oh, now, baby, please. What you trying to do to me?
You need to leave, Andrea, however you pronounce it. You're not doing a great job, and you're a liar. We'll be right back with some news.
It's all about the 420 MMJ Radio.
Okay, now, here's some news, some interesting stuff, some good stories, and, of course, some of the same old stories that we hear all the time. First up, Dr. Sunil Kumar Agrawal. Gee, I hope I pronounced his name right. He's a great advocate and a doctor studying cannabis. Here's a little piece of Dr. Agrawal talking about cannabis and what it's all about with medicine.
Can cannabis kill cancer cells? Yes, we know that for a fact. That's been shown over and over again in laboratories, petri dishes, animals, and increasingly we've started to generate case reports with real good objective markers. It's just because of the view of cannabis as a Schedule I dangerous substance with no accepted safety for medical use under supervision, which is the official position of the federal government. It's a politically unpopular thing to study cannabinoids killing cancer cells in the 70s, and now it continues to be a politically unsupported thing to study cannabis killing cancer cells in the 2010s, and that's got to change, because there is tremendous potential, and not only that, for palliation for cancer patients too, boosting appetite, relieving pain, improving mood, reducing nausea and vomiting, easing pain. Those are all serious things that cancer patients face, and other treatments that they could help their cancer, they don't take or take less of because of those different symptoms. So supporting, palliating cancer patients, and then potentially even helping them fight the cancer. These things are being called for by leading cancer researchers, and thankfully now on the cancer.gov National Cancer Institute website, as of the latter part of January of 2016, they have included some of these case report citations and many more details about how cannabis and cannabinoids can help in cancer. I was proud to have been a part of the editorial advisory board to put those revisions in, and I'm hoping that as we gain this knowledge, we will also gain the courage to see where it leads us.
Now, there's a guy who's an expert at what he does, and he's got compassion. Dr. Sunil Kumar Agrawal, MD. Let's go around some of the states and see what's going on. In Utah, most Utahns, that's what they call them, want medical marijuana, and lawmakers are working on it, believe it or not.
At least one Utah lawmaker is crafting a new bill to legalize medical marijuana, and another is hoping to legally study the drug. KUER's Nicole Nixon reports.
After two different medical marijuana bills failed to pass in the legislature earlier this year, Republican Representative Gage Frower says he's working on another bill for 2017. Frower says his legislation would create a cannabis board made up of doctors, pharmacists, patients, and other stakeholders to come up with regulations and best practices. He says he's also been studying how other states manage medical marijuana.
Really, any legislation of the 26 states out there, we've looked at every state and analyzed and tried to come up with what is best in each of those states and incorporate that into this bill.
A recent poll by Utah Policy found that nearly 2/3 of Utah voters support legalizing marijuana for medical use. But Republican Senator Brian Shiozawa says he's tired of waiting for legislative action and wants to see more research done, whether or not medical marijuana becomes legal in Utah. Shiozawa, who also works as an emergency room physician, says he's been in talks with some of Utah's research institutions to work on getting DEA approval and grants for further study.
We don't have to necessarily wait for the session. We could potentially look at this much sooner than, say, looking at a ballot initiative in 2019 or some of the other legislation that really failed last session.
While the two medical marijuana bills failed to pass earlier this year, lawmakers unanimously agreed that more research would be beneficial. Shiozawa says the most important thing for him is helping patients get access to treatment that works. Nicole Nixon, KUER News.
Utah may be going to get some medical. That would be great. Everybody deserves it. People shouldn't have to move from one state to another to use this medicine. It works. It certainly works for epilepsy. This is a typical story, once again, where people in a state that doesn't allow the use of cannabis, people are having a hard time. It's not fair. It should be legalized federally, nationally, and people from all over should be able to use it. Here's another one of the stories about a Kansas City mom who wants medical marijuana for her son's epilepsy.
A local mother fighting for her son's life, but she says she needs your help to do it.
He deserves to try anything and everything to stay alive.
And tonight, her frustration is growing. A judge just threw out signatures that could have got medical marijuana on the November ballot. Only on 41 Action News, Patrick Fazio shows us why time is running out.
Candace Beyer hopes that one day her son Harper can say her name.
I've never heard him say Mom.
But his health keeps getting worse.
There have been numerous times where we thought it was our last time with him.
Doctors only gave Harper a few months to live when he was born with a severe form of progressive epilepsy. He's 6 years old now, but his mom says he's having more seizure clusters every day, causing him to choke.
It's all right. He deserves to try anything and everything to stay alive.
Candace says the medications doctors prescribe don't help, so she wants Harper to try medical marijuana, like cannabis oil, which worked for this Colorado girl. Charlotte Figge used to have severe seizures hundreds of times each week.
We were literally picking out headstones, signing do not resuscitates. I didn't have hope.
Charlotte's mom says cannabis oil stopped the seizures, and now her daughter can walk, talk, and eat.
It was shocking to see the transformation.
That's what Candace wants for her son.
I want him to be able to enjoy his sister and his family and his dogs, and he loves going to school.
So Candace helped collect voter signatures to put medical marijuana on November's ballot. But the Secretary of State's office went to court to dispute some of those signatures. And 12 prosecutors in Missouri joined the legal fight to block voters from deciding.
It's really frustrating. Politicians shouldn't be deciding what therapy we want to use.
Others who also gathered signatures to put medical marijuana up for a vote came to Kansas City last month.
I'm handing this over on behalf of New Approach, Missouri,
to protest Jackson County Prosecutor Jean Peters Baker.
And it's very difficult to understand because she has a reputation for being reasonable and rational.
Attorney Dan Viets wants Baker and the other prosecutors to drop their legal fight. Baker won't talk to us about it, but on her website, she calls it unconstitutional to let voters decide because medical marijuana is a federal crime.
That is obviously a silly argument because 25 other states have done exactly that, and we've had legal medical marijuana in some states for as long as 20 years now.
Moving to one of those states is unaffordable for Candace. She's a single mom who relies on help from relatives here in Kansas City. In 2014, Missouri did pass a hemp extract law allowing cannabis oil, but only if patients get permission from a neurologist.
We can't even try that because we can't find a neurologist that will help us.
Her son's neurologists at Children's Mercy Hospital refused to give him cannabis oil. We asked why. Children's Mercy gave us this statement basically saying there are no human studies proving it's safe or effective for seizure patients. Candace says other local hospitals have also told her no.
I wouldn't want to break the law and give him medication that isn't for him. If I were to be caught, he would be taken away from me.
Missouri voters could decide to let patients get any type of medical marijuana if it goes on November's ballot.
Another year from now, I don't know if he'll still be here. I honestly don't.
She hopes others join her in speaking up for medical marijuana since her son can't speak up for himself. Patrick Fazio, 41 Action News.
A judge in Jefferson City ruled today to throw out some of the signatures on a petition submitted by supporters. They could appeal. The time is running out. Tuesday's the deadline to put the issue on November's ballot.
Yeah, time is running out for getting things on the ballot. It's 30 days away. We'll keep you posted on what's happening with that. We're going to move over to Illinois right now. There's a company there that wants to make a medical marijuana patch, and which will help people fight pain without the high. I guess some patches probably have THCA in it, which would not give you a high, and some patches would have THC in it, which would give you a high. But here is this report from Illinois.
A new patch to fight pain. It could be a growing trend for medical marijuana users in Illinois.
As Roseanne Tejas tells us in this original report, it offers relief without the high.
It's the newest delivery method for medical marijuana, a patch that can fight pain for up to 12 hours.
The patients want options.
Kaylee Hukirk used one to treat a flare-up of Crohn's disease.
It almost kind of muted the effects, and then all of a sudden my symptoms kind of dissipated.
Hukirk, who also works at a licensed cannabis dispensary, used the medicinal patch, which delivers THC, but says a CBD version offers the same relief without the high.
This is really what is revolutionary in the cannabis industry right now, is providing relief for patients, but allowing them to continue their day without being altered at all.
Dr. Leslie Mendoza-Temple says it's about flexibility.
The expansion of products, the ways we can ingest or put through our skin or inhale is huge.
And the patch can target specific areas. Dr. Mendoza-Temple says her patients found great relief.
It was significantly helpful, like a 180.
A year into the state pilot program, there are now salves, gel pens, and more. Dr. Mendoza-Temple says while they don't work for everyone, they're great alternatives to addictive painkillers.
Reducing the amount of opioids and benzodiazepines that our patients are taking, if we can reduce that, we've reduced harm and we've increased relief. I don't see why this isn't part of every physician's pain regimen plan.
Now, Hukirk, who is from Clinic Mundelein, says a lot of people simply don't realize it's a legal option in the state. Of course, your illness must be on the state list of debilitating conditions, and you need to apply through the Illinois Department of Public Health.
So I think patches are going to be absolutely huge. There's a company called Mary's Medicinals that makes patches in Colorado. I believe they've also expanded into maybe Washington State or Oregon, but somewhere up on the northwest coast. Patches are going to be great because you can just slap one on. I've tried them; they work, and it's the future of dispersing the medicine in a clean way, and especially for people who don't want to get high. The THCA patches are fantastic, or the CBD patches, which can't get you high. All right, we're going to move over to California right now. In Shasta, the medical marijuana tax generated, it got more revenue than they expected. Now, that's all great and fine, but, I don't believe that medical cannabis should be taxed. It's taxed here as a sales tax in New Mexico. It should be treated as any other medicine where we don't pay any tax. But here is a report about Shasta, California.
A medical marijuana tax in the city of Shasta Lake has brought in more money than expected. KRCR News Channel 7's Tiffany Wong breaks down the dollars and cents.
The City of Shasta Lake community met for their State of the City luncheon Wednesday to talk about what the city has accomplished this past year. And they were pleased to find out they earned more than they expected from the tax on medical marijuana.
And we used $350,000 for our estimate. And overall, we just checked the books. We have our auditors here this week, actually, and our final number for revenue actually collected was $417,000 for this year.
This is only for the 2 dispensaries that were already open during the fiscal year, not including Leave It to Nature, which just opened a few months ago.
We don't know if that's going to generate additional collective business within the city, or it may just equalize with the other collectives within the city.
City Manager John Deckett says although marijuana collectives came to the city in 2009, the tax was only passed in December of last year.
We've had very good success with them. They do pay sales tax to the city through normal sales. Medical marijuana-related sales.
As the only city in Shasta County with dispensaries, Duckett says they have not had any problems.
They also are very good corporate citizens. We have a very few calls for service through the Sheriff's Department.
Duckett adds that even if marijuana is legalized through Prop 64, the tax would stay the same at 6%, money that will be put to good use.
We had to put together an economic incentive program within the city, and we transferred $50,000 to the program, and we helped businesses improve some of their facades and some ADA improvements out there.
Tiffany Wong, KRCR News Channel 7.
So Prop 64 in California is the measure that is up in for legalization. It's a controversial measure. I first was against it, but after speaking with a couple of people who are in the know and are advocates, I've come around to say that yes, it probably is best to pass this now. Again, we're going to talk with Carlos Alfaro in a few minutes, who's on yes in Arizona, and last week we spoke with 2 people from Arizona on no, and those are advocates who want legalization. Sometimes they write these bills and there's stuff in it that doesn't work. It's not really legalization, and we'll talk about fake legalization. We did last week, and we'll talk about why Carlos Alfaro and his group thinks that they should pass it now in Arizona. But first, I've come around. Again, I support Prop 64 in California. I lived in California for about 30 years, and I consider that home. So here is a spot, a 2-minute spot that they're running in California on Prop 64 and why it should be passed.
Good news for California citizens, industry, and economy. California could finally legalize marijuana this election day. For years, there has been confusion surrounding the legality of marijuana use for Californians. Complicated laws have made it difficult for many to know exactly what is legal and for whom. Prop 215 allows patients to legally obtain medical marijuana. However, interpretation of the various laws leave the door open for uncertainty for both doctors and patients. Furthermore, complicated laws on top of regulations for dispensaries and cannabis farmers, along with the costs to obtain a legal card, make it difficult for many qualified patients from participating in the system. This can finally change on November 8, 2016, but only if you vote yes on Prop 64. Prop 64, known as the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, just makes sense for today's California. Why? If Prop 64 passes, it will legalize marijuana use for adults age 21 or over, exempt minors from serving jail time for any marijuana-related charges, and allow possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana flower or up to 8 grams of cannabis concentrate. Also, it will protect Prop 215, ensuring medical patients continue to receive their established benefits, allow adults to cultivate up to 6 cannabis plants, and legalize industrial hemp production in California, opening up the creation of an infinite number of related jobs. Estimates suggest over $1 billion in annual tax revenue. Don't miss your chance to make history this election day. Vote yes on Prop 64 and legalize marijuana in California.
Okay, so that's the spot that's running currently. They have 30 days to convince people that now is the time in California. I support Prop 64. We'll be right back to talk about yes on Prop 205 in Arizona with Carlos Alfaro, sort of a follow-up of last week's no on Prop 205. We'll be right back after this.
It's all about the 420 MMJ Radio.
PTSD, MS, glaucoma, seizures. All of these diseases have seen beneficial impacts with medical marijuana. It's outrageous that the federal government is saying there's no medical use. And until they move from Schedule 1, they are literally saying that.
Help the average person understand the difference between a Schedule 1 drug and a Schedule 2 drug.
Well, it's really simple. Schedule 1 drug has no medical use, and a Schedule 2 drug has medical uses.
Marijuana does not meet the definition of Schedule 2, and you can create those products, and we should do that.
Clearly, Schedule 2 is easier to access.
It's a small difference.
Well, then why are you resisting that difference then?
To deny people medicine that can help them based upon some idea that this might create a problem or a slippery slope, that undermines the common sense of things we already are doing.
It's stuck in the 60s. People wanted to demonize this as a hippie drug that had no value and not actually study it.
Have you written to the president or asked
Yes,
the
they'll
president?
say there's not a body of research that shows the medical effects in U.S. literature.
Legalizing marijuana, whether it's medical marijuana or recreational use. Right now, that is not federal policy.
Well, surprise, surprise, it's a Schedule 1 drug. Of course there's not a body of research because you've precluded that research from being done. It's a catch-22.
The medical marijuana. The medical marijuana. Radio show.
Hi, this is Steve D'Angelo, and you are listening to Medical Marijuana Radio.
And we're back. And online today, last week we actually talked about no on 205 in Arizona. Today we have the campaign director, Carlos Alfaro, on yes on 205 in Arizona to legalize medical cannabis like alcohol. So welcome to Medical Marijuana Radio, Carlos.
Thank you for having me.
So again, I've been wanting legalization for a long time. It seems that a lot of these bills have some stuff hidden in them. So why is 2016 the time for Arizona to legalize cannabis?
We have the best environment this year to pass a ballot like this. In 2010, many people remember, it was a low voter turnout year. It was not a presidential election. In fact, in a lot of ways, it was a conservative revolution for voting. And in 2010, Prop 203, which allowed for our medical marijuana system to be put in place, passed. It still passed. It was a tight race. I mean, it passed by less than 0.5%. About 4,000 votes was the difference there. So now we're talking about 2016, 5 years after having a very successful medical marijuana program with over 100,000 medical patients, all with friends and family. The Arizona legislature did a report study on how many marijuana consumers there were in Arizona, and conservatively they came up with 500,000, about 500,000 people in our state that consume marijuana on the regular basis. So we have an environment where the stigma is being pushed back, where real information about marijuana is coming forth, and where people are tired of seeing marijuana prohibition because they know it does not work.
Okay, but at the same time, though, however, the controversy seems to be about decriminalization. Okay, so if the polling from across the entire United States shows an overwhelming support for marijuana discrimination, then why does Prop 205 still leave the felony penalties in place for people who violate the law? I know it's only like 1 ounce. So.
I want to address your first comment there. That's actually not the controversy in Arizona. What is in the ballot box, the controversy is whether we want to keep prohibition or not. The money against this campaign seeks to keep the laws that are currently in place, which mean that any amount of marijuana in our state is a felony. So we are incarcerating people, or at least arresting 15,000 adults every single year for marijuana possession or suspicion of marijuana possession. Those people, those arrests, most of them would be taken off with Prop 205. So the real controversy is about taking it to a regulated market where legitimate business can take over, not whether you can have half a pound of marijuana or more. This is about getting an actual regulated system in place and having reasonable standards that everyone in Arizona, even the people that don't consume marijuana, would agree to and vote yes to.
So what will the penalty be if you get caught? Let's say your initiative allows for 1 ounce. If you get caught with 2 ounces, what will happen?
It is a $300 penalty. Fine.
What about the second time?
It is still a $300 penalty fine. If it goes over 2.5 ounces, then it becomes a felony.
Okay.
You can grow.
So
yes.
Let me just interrupt. So it becomes a felony if you have over 2.5 ounces of cannabis with you. Now that's what the medical allowance is, and me being a medical card holder in New Mexico, if I come across to Arizona, I can have 2.5 ounces also. But if I had 3 ounces, what's going to happen to me?
The law remains in place. This does not affect people that are carrying more than 2.5. It doesn't affect the people that are carrying less than 2.5. The people that are seeking to carry more can get into the business, can get a license to grow. They can even grow on their own house and go over that limit and still have it be legal, as long as they don't go out and drive around or are in the street with over the allowed amount. So what we're doing here is taking the first step towards a regulated system where we have a voice, right? And if we don't take this step, we're not going to get to a better place, or the place that some of the naysayers want to get to. Some people say this is not enough, or we're not going far enough. But what they don't understand is that before we can have any sort of reasonable regulation, we have to get prohibition off. We have to end prohibition, and this is our only shot in Arizona this year.
Okay, would you do me a favor and just describe your definition of prohibition to me, please?
Describe my definition of prohibition. Regarding marijuana, it's a government prohibition where the government seeks to end the supply of marijuana by criminalizing possession, growing, manufacturing, or the sale of this product. We've had it since 1930s. Next year it's going to be 80 years of this policy, and after many arrests, billions of dollars spent, it's proven to be unsuccessful. People now are consuming marijuana more than ever, or at least saying that they are, looking at all the polls. And over 60% of them agree that this policy is not efficient, not successful, and want to see it ended.
All right, so then tell me, what is your definition of decriminalization?
What is my definition of decriminalization? It's a pathway to get to a regulated system.
A pathway? No. Wait a second. I'm sorry. That is not a pathway to what? Would you say a pathway to what?
A regulated system. A completely legal system.
Decriminalization.
Yeah, decriminalization only means that you're still criminalizing it, or that you're still getting some sort of government prohibition along with it, or a government law along with it. If it was completely legal, it would be a regulated system. It would be like any other illegal product, like alcohol, like tobacco. Marijuana should be amongst those. It should not be in its own special class of between prohibition and complete legalization. It should be completely legal.
Okay, but decriminalizing, cannabis is the important thing. There's so many people that are in jail now for cannabis, are getting arrested for cannabis, but that doesn't seem to really change. It doesn't really seem that your bill is a decriminalization. It has decriminalization in it.
I'm sorry. It would remove criminal penalties for people 21 and over getting caught with marijuana. That is how most people get caught. This is how we get criminal records that follow you for the rest of your life. I mean, if you don't think this is enough, tell that to somebody that got caught, the 15,000 people that got caught last year. That will end. That will dramatically decrease. And to say that Prop 205 doesn't do this, it's either very misleading or just a clear misinterpretation of the proposition.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. All right, let's move away from that for a couple of minutes, and
Sure.
Because I really feel, I'm a passionate advocate here in New Mexico and in the United States and in the world for decriminalizing cannabis so that nobody goes to jail if they have 3 ounces of cannabis on them or if they have 8 grams of concentrates. I understand that there's a restriction on concentrates, only 5 grams.
Yeah, I mean, we can all come up with our lines of how much is enough and how much should be allowed and what the ideal would be.
But if you go to
at the
jail,
moment, we're not in a fight. We're not in a position to make that claim because we still have prohibition to defeat. If we don't defeat prohibition, if we don't defeat 1930s laws, we can't move forward. We need at least a regulated system so that we have a lobby so that we can start making some of these changes. I don't know what you think about Colorado, but last year they made about $1 billion in legal sales. I mean, generated tax money for schools. Isn't that where we want to go?
Absolutely, but Colorado also decriminalized. There's nobody going to jail if you have, too much marijuana. Okay, I mean, if you had like 50 pounds or something, I get that, but people still shouldn't go to jail for life. Tell me about the other people behind this initiative. My understanding is that there's a board of people, and 3 of them or so are actually medical cannabis providers in Arizona. Do you really think that's a good way to have those kind of people running this?
You're talking about the marijuana commission that our law would create.
Right.
And like the alcohol board, it would generate rules and regulations that would make it safe for the consumer and not overburden the industry with regulations. We need to have all lobbies there. We need to have all interests play a part because when this becomes a regulated product, new industry comes in. Business create jobs. That the tax revenue that it generates goes to schools.
Carlos, tell me, how does your legalization effort affect the medical program? Because, I'm a stickler for preserving the medical programs as best as possible because, it's a whole different industry.
Great. No, and it's working great in Arizona. So many patients are getting the medicine that they need, something that was prohibited to them for many, many decades. And finally, we got it passed in 2010. And so what this proposition would do is it would run alongside the medical program and even allow more people to get the benefits of cannabis, people that don't qualify for the medical program, people that think that $300 a year for a medical card is too much. So those people would be actually added into the industry. And, that opens the door for more education, boundless opportunities that could happen just from having Proposition 205 passed. One of the great right-away benefits that I see is that anyone over 21 and over will be able to grow up to 12 plants per household. That to me is a huge benefit for patients and for people that want to do this recreationally.
Okay.
We both gain.
Is there still, will localities be able to prohibit growing if they feel like it? So if you happen to live in the wrong locality?
No.
No?
No, absolutely not. The localities can ban new retail shops from coming into their municipality, but they cannot prohibit grow. Grow is a right that will be passed under 205 so that anybody over 21 and over will be able to do that as a right, regardless of where they live in the state.
And there's no 25-mile rule anymore then?
Not with the recreational law, no.
All right. So what you're saying is, if a medical patient who is 25 miles away from a dispensary, they can't grow. If they're over 25 miles away from the dispensary, they can grow. But if they're within 25 miles, they can't grow. Right?
That's no. What I'm telling you is that everybody 21 and over can grow, regardless of where you live in Arizona.
All right. Well,
if Prop 205 passes.
Right.
That is only if Prop 205 passes. I can't say that enough.
Okay. No, I understand that. Are there any other medical program changes with the recreational, with your initiative? Does anything change for them that maybe in one way or another?
No. No, I wouldn't think so. The fee's still the same. Unfortunately, I believe it's too high. But I mean, everything stays the same with the medical program. I would say Prop 205 adds opportunities and access to those that currently can't with our medical program.
I see. Okay. Is there anything? What else did we not cover? Let's see. What about the taxes? What will the taxes be on rec?
Sure. The taxes would be 15% excise tax on marijuana sales that would go to fund many different programs. So 40% of it will go to K through 12, which includes teacher salaries and building construction. The other 40% will go to all-day kindergarten programs. And the remaining 20% will go to programs that teach our youth about the relative harms of marijuana, tobacco, and alcohol. So all of this really truly benefits the public health and Arizona schools.
Okay, so that's fantastic, and that's what Tax and Regulate is all about. It's about helping communities and helping schools and so forth. I'm just still a little bit worried about some of the not decriminalizing thing, the felonies that are still allowed. It doesn't seem like, I don't know who wrote this. I don't know if you're involved with writing with it. I know the MPP had something to do with it, but I would think there would be better decriminalization stuff in there, and that seems to be sticking in my craw and some other people's craw. So if this does pass and people are still being arrested for whatever reasons and so forth, how easy will it to be change these rules that you're passing right now in the future?
So there's a couple different ways that the rules are made. First, when Prop 205 passes, that is statute. That becomes law in our state. But it's only the skeleton of the program. It only sets up the very fundamental things that the law requires, like the commission, for example. Then the commission is a group of people, the group of interests, including consumers, including activists, including industry. And we come together and they make rules and regulations that come with the program. So how hard is it to change the statute? It's very hard. In Arizona, we have a rule that protects the vote of the voters. If voters say this is what we want in November, it'll protect that vote from a legislator coming around and saying, well, they didn't know better. So that won't be able to be changed so easily. It requires a 70% vote. But anything in the commission, anything after that is made, rules, regulations, anything like that, will definitely have to change as we see our market and businesses expand and evolve.
So visitors from out of state who come in and want to go to your rec stores, are they limited, or are they being treated the same as locals?
They're being treated the same. This is anybody over 21, so any person.
So like in Colorado, where you can only buy 7 grams a day or something if you're a visitor, you have no restrictions like that?
Right. Not in the statute, no.
Okay. Any final words?
Yes, I would say that anybody that's hung up on the details of this, if it's not the perfect ideal law that you would put together, I would still say that it is much better than what we have currently, and it would set up a program so that most people stop getting arrested for marijuana. And I really hope that people vote yes. I would hate to see somebody vote no, and then once it passes, have them be in the front of the line for the stores to open. You know, this is this is what happened with 203 and what some people are trying to do with 205. But most people won't be fooled. They'll know that this is the prohibitionists from the 1930s against the legalization movement together trying to defeat prohibition. And the polls look tight, but our ad buys are really good, and we believe that we will have the last word in the end. So I encourage everybody to vote yes on 205 and go to our website at regulatemarijuanaaz.org to sign up and help.
I appreciate that, Carlos. Again, I'm for legalization. It just, for me, from just looking at it from where I was looking at it, okay, it just doesn't seem to me like the decriminalization part of your initiative is as good as it should be. That's the only thing that's bothering me. But I thank you for explaining it to me today, and good luck to everybody. I'm for legalization, but I'm also for legalization that makes sense and really decriminalizes and keeps people out of jail. So thanks for telling us your position, and good luck in a month.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this. Okay, so that was my conversation with Carlos Alfaro, the director of Yes on 205. You need to think. You need to listen to what he just said. You need to go back to last week and listen to that show with Jason Madar and David Wisniewski. I think we really went over the pluses and minuses of the legalization and waiting until 2018 when they're going to rewrite and make the rules really good. I think that if you're leaving the felonies on the books and people are still going to get arrested, and Joe Arpaio is going to still arrest people, and people are going to get records and going to ruin their lives, if they don't take those kind of laws off the books, I don't think it's right. And Carlos even said about a minute before the end that this initiative, I'm not quoting him exactly, probably isn't good for some people because it's not altogether good. So you really need to think about it when you're going to vote. Personally, I'm against 205. I think they should wait until 2018 when they can get a good bill going. We've been waiting 80 years. We've been waiting 40 years, some of us. We can wait another 2 years and do it right, because the legalities, as far as I can tell, the felonies aren't taken off the books in Arizona. Now, before we wrap things up, I just want to go back to what we were talking about at the top of the show. Andrea, please don't be vindictive. Do your job. Get some satisfaction. Help people. Do what you've done in the past for others. Don't because I'm the person who has spoken out against you and Kenny and all that stuff. Drop that. Do what you do best. I'm doing what I'm doing best. I call out the bullshit. I see where it is, and I talk about it. And I advocate for patients and this program. Andrea, get your resume ready.
The medical marijuana. The medical marijuana. Radio show. The medical marijuana.
Well, I want to thank Carlos for explaining his end of it. Also, don't forget, go to last week's show, and if you didn't listen to it, and listen to why you should vote no on 205. I want to thank my two radio mentors, both with the initials HS. Thank you for your inspiration. If you want to hear some of our old shows, you can go to medicalmarijuanaradio.com, MMJRadio.com. My YouTube channel is LSLove88. SoundCloud is MMJRadio, as well as Spreaker is MMJRadio. CannabisTube.net. They were down last week. I don't know if they're back, but we'll see. On Spreaker and iHeartRadio, it's also the time for Hemp, Global Broadcasting Network. On Now TV, Channel 937. Also, 420radio.org. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, it's info@mmjradio.com, info@mmjradio.com.
about you and me. The medical,
Avita Zane, Kenny G.
the medical marijuana.
Farewell.
Shalabah. Shalom.
Sleep well. Peace and love. Peace and love. And chaos where it needs to be.
Bapu buyeta, suyeta ba, bapu didi, sa bapu 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 bapu,